In the latest episode of Hack My Growth, we're going to be taking a look at a new SERP feature that Google just unveiled. And underneath this, it's telling us some pretty powerful insights on why certain pages are ranking within the top results. All right, let's go. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. If it's your first time watching or maybe been watching a while and you find our content helpful, hit the subscribe button now. We'd love to have you join our community. As I said in the opener, we're going to be looking at a brand new SERP feature that Google just unveiled. Now, this is more designed for the end user, but looking at this, SEOs and marketers can also find some powerful information behind why Google is ranking certain sites within their respective positions right within the SERP results. All right, let's get into it. When I see a title like this, I usually ignore the video, but I promise you, you should not ignore this one because Google is actually now sharing at a very high level what factors are impacting specific search rankings. So when I first heard this, I was like, what? Like, come on now. Now, years ago, they did talk, at a very high level, right? They said content, and they said links, and they said rank brain. That's what they said. And it was a big deal, and everybody was like, see, Google likes links, which we already knew because it had a big factor when it comes to page rank. We knew that content obviously played a role because without content, we don't really have anything to show people. But today, Google's actually giving ranking factors or reasons for why a specific search result is in that listing. So this just came out just a couple days ago. And this is an expansion of the box that they launched back in February of 2021. And this is an article that Barry Schwartz did. He's usually pretty good keeping up with the info over at Google, so I highly recommend that you follow him and also read his articles. So as I said, Google is now giving us more information within the About This Results box. So this is straight from Google. They're saying now we have a quick and easy way to see the context about how Google returned a specific query. So they've got 3 dots that you can click next to a link and it'll give you some information. The first is typically this source box, and this source box will show you something like a Wikipedia article or the information about the company. It kind of verifies the legitimacy of the company. A lot of times you'll see something like this site was first indexed in X. It gives you more information around that. That's pretty interesting because they're showing you that they're linking out to the linked open data graph, which really shows us that connection between these boxes and everything that they're doing with linked open data. But now what they're doing is down here on the bottom, you'll see in some cases your search and this result. So let's say you're looking and wanting to learn how to cook fish in the oven. If you click on these 3 dots and this expands, Google can actually say we return this results because the terms how cook fish in oven appeared in the text. So we know that using the right terms is important. We know that those concepts are really important because now it's going to talk about related terms, things like ingredients, recipe, and baked. Baked and oven they're related, they're contextually related. Ingredients are important to cooking, right? A recipe is like how to cook or how to cook fish. That implies that you need maybe a recipe as well. So Google's really understanding the topic at a very, very deep level here. And they're not only showing you the words that match when they're looking at the content, they're also showing you the terms and the concepts that are related as well. So they're showing you right here, this is why we're choosing this page. And they're saying that the results are in English. Now that's important. They understand the locality of the person making the search because there it says in the United States. And based on that, they assume that that person speaks English. Therefore, they're going to show them English content that covers the search terms and related topics that are best associated with the query that they're making. That's pretty deep. And this is stuff that we can try to pull. We've done there's a lot of SEO tools out there that try to extract this information for us. But now Google themselves is giving it to the searcher. And this is a really cool thing that we can now leverage really to make our strategies better. So why is Google doing this? What's the point? So they've said they're already giving some visual indications of why something might be relevant in search. And that's absolutely true. If you look at search results today, we've got the knowledge panel and knowledge box people also ask for. They usually have entities right up at the top as well. But now they're bringing context into the About This search results panel. This is to help people to evaluate whether a result that they're looking for is the correct one. So in this case, the query was get the shot. and the source was the Vermont Department of Health that was actually walking them through this. And again, we've got a Wikipedia article, again, which shows the validity of the link that's talking about it. We've got healthvermont.gov. And below, again, it was about search terms, right? So get the shot. So people wrote get the shot, but Google also understood that this was getting. So they're understanding the verbs and the actions taking place. They're understanding the sequences of the sentences, and they're also understanding that shot may pertain right now to vaccine based on what's happening today. So this is also showing that Google is looking at things in real time. You know, something like how to cook a fish, you could have a really good recipe from 10 years ago that could rank, right? If it's a really good piece and it meets all those requirements. But in the case of what's happening in our world today, this is very timely. So they might understand that that would be a vaccine shot. They also are showing us this factor here, that websites with your search terms link to this result as well. So what they're saying is that other websites actually are linking to this, and those other websites are also relevant and contextually relevant. They're talking about the same things. They have some authority to talk about those things, and they're linking to this source as a credible source as well. That's very important to understand from a link perspective. We know that links are important, and we know that not all links are created equal. So we really have got to understand that Google is showing us, yes, links matter. These other sources matter, but they need to be credible. They also need to be topical. They need to be related. They need to make sense. Links for links' sake aren't going to give value, but Google's clearly saying here that contextual links that are related to the search terms that we're using, that are related to the topics that we're trying to find, are a pretty big deal. And the reason that they're giving you a Vermont result here is because the user was in Vermont and they speak English based on assuming that they're in the United States. Again, that's a ton of information from just one query, and especially if you're trying to optimize for this. So what are these factors? These are some of the factors that they're sharing. We know that there are hundreds of factors that are at play when it comes to a search result, but let's take a look at a few of these. And most of this I've pulled straight from this Google blog, so you can go and read them yourselves. But we're going to go through some of these. In the last one, I just kind of pulled out on my own. So the first is matching keywords. These is very simple, and it's an important factor, but Google uses them to determine whether or not the information is relevant. So it's not about keyword stuffing. It's not about overusing keywords, but there are some terms that they expect to see within certain content, right? So again, if you're running a business, let's say my site, if I never use the term SEO, or search engine optimization, or search marketing, that would be a really bad move, because those are terms that are expected when talking about the types of things that I talk about. Having keywords that match are important, and understanding the terms and the queries that people are using in order to find certain pieces of content is important. You need to make sure that you have that in your content. They're also showing us the importance of related terms, that their system can now determine related keywords, and understanding that, again, the how to cook a fish example, they're also looking at things like bake and recipe and other things that are related to that as well. So again, when you're looking at your site, understanding context, understanding related terms, related concepts, things that you could use to maybe extend your content or create better content or go deeper in your content. They're really going deeper within each query. Google's also looking at links, and they're showing us right here that they look at links as an indicator of whether online content creators regard that this page is useful for the topic. They're looking at those, they're looking at the content that's linking to it, they're trying to understand the context of it all and make a determination of whether or not it's relevant to the search. So links are still playing a role here today. Location is also something big. Google's looking at localizing search, because obviously most people are doing it on mobile device, at least from a B2C standpoint, and they want to know where you are, because that's going to change what you're looking for. So they're looking at location factors like country, city, township, in order to deliver more contextual relevant content within your area. So if you're looking for trash day pickup like they're showing here, they need to show you something that's applicable for your city and state, because I'm in Florida here, and if they're telling me about the trash days in New York City, I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. I'm not going to be there, so it doesn't impact my life. But if they need to show it for my city, my municipality, my town. The other thing at play here, if they were showing me that result in Portuguese, well, I might speak Portuguese, but the chance is that I probably don't. I speak English, or in Florida, maybe Spanish as well would be a likely case here. So looking at my past search history and things of that, if Google said, okay, they use Spanish more than English, then I need to show them this result on a Spanish website. So local relevance is playing a big role. And this isn't just the case for local businesses. This is for regional businesses. This is for national, international businesses. Understanding where people are searching from is a big, as a big role within the relevancy and the rank placing. The other thing that you'll see in the next slide as we look through one of the gifts that Google shares is the importance of images. Images that are relevant to the search query can also impact that search result. So Google's even looking at images. They're looking at image alt text. They're looking at probably files and titles, but also using artificial intelligence to understand what that image truly is. So as we talked about, this is really for the searcher, and they're looking to give the searcher more information and more tips. Now, as you can see over here, this is a GIF that Google put out, and you click on that 3 little box and it'll pop up this result in some cases, and it'll show you the search terms. So people can actually highlight on those, and they can find exact matches for those terms that they're interested in learning more about, or the related terms. It also shows that the image was related to it. And then we see the localized information here. So they're giving tips on how to search for specific queries in this as well. So you can go a lot deeper and learn even more about what Google's looking for. But they're teaching people, how to use advanced search operators. Maybe people didn't understand that, you could put like this, in a quotation marks, and it would search for just like this, right? So whatever you put in those quotes, it's going to make it look very specific for whatever those words are. So why does this matter to SEO? Well, first off, it drives deeper the importance of intent and context. We need to make sure that we're creating content, pages, everything that we're doing here that's going to match intent and that's within the right context. Whether, it's a web page or whether we're linking to somebody or whatever, it's got to have high intent and it's got to match context. That's extremely important. This is also important because we can use this information to help us further optimize around Google's expectations. This should have a play on on-page factors like our title tags and our meta description, in our site copy, in our headers, whether we're using the right terms in the topics and the related queries. This has a huge play when it comes to semantic SEO. We see a number of connections both to linked open data sources, to other entities, and further ways for us to leverage structured data to help disambiguate that information for the search engines so that they better understand what it is we're talking about. In links, if you're link building or you're looking to acquire links, you need to do them from sites that are very highly credible in your space, that talk about the things that you talk about, that are semantically related, that have relevant concepts and topics. And also creating content that's just going to naturally generate those links on themselves is extremely important. And we can get all this information from looking right within these boxes from Google. And this really also finally shows off the expansiveness of their knowledge graph and their natural language capabilities. Like I said, you could see links to Wikipedia in there. You could see links to other entities. You could see how Google's algorithm now can break down the site very quickly and look at a number of factors, whether it's related to keywords, whether that's related to related terms or semantically related terms, whether that's looking at images and understanding the context of that image, whether it's looking at other people's websites and breaking that down really quickly and understanding the links that are pointing back to this site. This is all happening in fractions of a second, and it's a ton of information. And as SEOs, we need to understand how to leverage this information to provide better content, better experience for our end users. When you focus on your end users and you develop a strategy around them, you're going to drive more qualified traffic. Now, you may not get larger numbers than some sites, but your traffic's going to be better. And that's really what search is all about. It's not necessarily having the most traffic, it's having the right traffic and making sure that those people are coming to your site. And those are the ones who are actually going to help take you further and help you reach your goals in the end run. So if you want to learn more about semantic search and how knowledge graphs work and building entities and the power of linked data and structured data, I've got a simple course that helps you understand this. And you can check it out at learn.simplifiedsearch.net. I'm going to walk you through how to optimize for semantic search and how we can do that in a way that's actually practical and simple, that you can start putting these into practice. If you got any questions, whether it be on the course or anything we talked about today, please comment below. And until next time, happy marketing.